I'm sure you've all judged unfairly, and maybe you came to regret it later. I've caught myself judging others, especially when they're rude to me. I even feel pretty okay judging them. But then I learned something about them that puts me in my place. You never know what someone else is struggling with, so try not to judge too harshly. I attended a mountain school with kindergartners to 8th graders. Roughly 100 kids taught at that school, so yes, I had recess with all the younger kids. There was a specific boy, Sammy, that I would see every day at recess. He was only a 6th grader, but he could be mean. He was my definition of a bully. He was immaculate at coming up with names to call me. He called me a tree. If you haven't noticed, I'm pretty tall. And I was only an inch shorter in 8th grade than I am now. So think about it, I was kind of helping him out with the name calling. He was probably a foot shorter than me. Every day I'd come home quite frankly upset, and I'd tell my mom and older brothers about me and Sammy and how he would call me a tree. My brothers were like, "How tall is this kid?" And I said, "He's about 5 foot." And they would all look at each other and say, "Why are you calling him a stump?" And then my mom would hush them and just hug me and tell me how wonderful being tall was. Well, almost an entire year of hearing Sammy's name calling, the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders went on a field trip to a nature park. My mom came as a volunteered chaperone, and she got put into the group with the 6th graders, Sammy's group. Now, I had pointed Sammy out at the beginning of our field trip, but when we were splitting into our groups, I said, "Mom, don't say anything to him about how he calls me a tree." She's like, I won't. Here I was thinking she would defend me. Well, after 2 hours on the field trip, we reunited with the 6th and 7th graders for lunch, and I saw my mom, so I went over to her thinking I'd asked. He was awful, right? And she pulled me aside and said, "You know, I got talking to Sammy, and he opened up sharing that he lives with his grandma because his mom is an alcoholic, and he has a brother who almost drowned when he was a toddler, but survived, and he's now handicapped. I think you should show more love and kindness to Sammy." Are we thinking of the same person? Sammy, who called me a tree? You're showing him pity? You're probably thinking now that I have a heart of coal. But I thought about it the rest of the day and over a while, and I thought, I have it good. I have an awesome family who loves me, and we have wonderful times together, and we're all in good health. And I started to feel a little ashamed that I was calling him a stump in my head. I remember that next day, I saw Sammy, and he called me a tree, but it didn't hurt anymore. When I learned Sammy's story, I realized I was judging harshly, and I didn't see that he was struggling with something heavy. So think about your own struggles. You wouldn't want someone treating you unfairly, so choose to act kindly towards those who are unkind.